Alright, hello and welcome back to Movement Monastery's training vlog. And I want to start this week out with a shout out to Steve Atlas for just a thank you. Alright, we had a little talk, and I think what I gained from that talk was that I've been, in a way, overreaching with my body and my time management. And so I've been working very hard, or not, maybe a little less hard, on trying to getting better sleep, taking better care of the fact that I only have so much energy, and I have to make sure to use my resources wisely. So I've been kind of cutting back on a couple different things, and I already feel a lot better this week, especially after last week's recovery time. I feel a lot better this week getting back into training. So let's take a look at what we did this week. First off, I was very happy with this aerial work I did with my wife the other day. This is a really cool, well, it's cool to me because it's such a strength-based thing, something that works really well for me. Literally, I'm holding her with one arm while I'm in a hip key position, and I have my other hand holding onto the silk. So I have all her weight in my arm there, okay? So that was a huge accomplishment for me, and I felt really cool doing it. You can see me when I come down here. I'm just super excited about it. So we're going to be incorporating this into our aerial routine, and very happy about it. I finally started to get some leeway with my run up back catching back full. Wasn't getting too much progress off the trampoline itself, so I was doing really well with the progressions for it, but I decided I needed to go back to the floor to really work on this. So this is a huge step for me. Feeling a lot stronger and better about this. Just testing my distance out to the mat, and finally got this round up back catching back full. Again, it's nothing new. I just am revisiting it, and I'm happy to finally make some better progress on it. And this is usually how things go. It takes about 2 weeks of training something before I really start to see huge progress in it. If it's something I've done in the past and it required a lot of power and speed and great timing, that's about how long it takes. And though I've been working on my back full consistently now for almost a month, this was still a great accomplishment for me today. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work with that and bringing it back to the floor. I also did a little bit of flow work between the two beams. I'm trying to get this, I call it a sit turn into a side roll, and it's a very finicky move. If you don't go the right direction, the right speed, you easily fall other directions. So I've been trying to work toward that again and build up to it. So a lot of it too has to do with how committed you are to continuing to flip over and not changing your tempo anytime during the skill. But I'm going to be doing a lot more work with this kind of constant movement stuff between the two beams, because I'm setting up for a performance I'm doing in October, and I just want to be ready. Back to handstand work again. So trying to work my time in the handstand position, building up to that 1 minute hold. So I'm just happy to get back to doing it. I had a really rough week with handstands last week, and this week I feel like I'm much more on point, doing a lot of great work on my wrists, and I got my epicondylitis thing taken care of, developing better strength in the forearms. So yeah, just overall better times with the handstand. This is obviously sped up, but from the top of my handstand I was doing presses down, so instead of going upward I go downward. Right here I'm doing some skin to cats. Skin to cats are great for your shoulders, and if you don't do them, I would suggest adding them to your practice. So yeah, overall I was really happy with these press handstands this day, and it's kind of hard to see in that video right there, but I'm turning my hands different directions and just getting a little bit of a hang in there to feel the tension, and just putting my hands in different positions. It's just good for your overall structure of your tissues. Right here, just working some Ketatahine work or QDR, and then right here, stretching my shoulders out and my back. After I do a lot of handstand work, it gets a little tense in those areas, so working that out there. Here, working more compression work, trying to get the Stalter position. This is going to take a while to develop. It's not something that really comes naturally to me, and I have a lot of work to do with it. There went the dogs. I'm massaging my hip flexors out, my quads out from doing that. And, yeah, you can see here I have a lot of work to do getting those legs up, and so a lot of compression work still, developing that in that pike position. But it'll get there. Just I gotta be consistent with it. Right here I'm just showing some of the stuff I do for my forearms and my grip strength. Right here I have a band around my fingers, and I'm opening and closing the band, doing ulnar and radial deviation with the theraband to help develop this direction and this direction of strengthening those areas. The problem that's become with this area right here is that I haven't really overdeveloped strength in pulling this way and haven't developed this direction. So that's the main goal with the theraband work, is to go the other direction, other ways, and build those strengths up as well to help even that work out. Here, doing a little bit of work with my feet as well with the theraband. If you don't have a theraband, I would suggest getting one. You can take it with you everywhere, and just helps as a great strength developer in different areas that maybe you might be missing. If you're interested in me putting up another video regarding the theraband and some things you can do with it for your, basically for your shoulders, your wrists, and your ankles, I gladly will do that. Just let me know. I got a nice strength training session in on the rings one day. So here's me doing some L pull-ups. I brought the parallettes out. This is one of the parks I like to come to, usually for parkour work, but today was just a really nice day out. It was just over 100 degrees out, and with a nice breeze, so I thought what a great day to do some ring training. I cannot think of a better... I love training outside. I always have. If there's a choice of me to be able to train outside versus inside, I usually will choose outside, just because of how it makes me feel. I love being outside. It to me is the heart of my training and the inspiration of how I've gotten where I am. You can see right here that I'm doing some stretches with the ring. If you ever get a chance to set up a single ring and just kind of lean out to the side and let your body kind of unwind and twist and turn, it feels really great in the shoulders and the side of the body. I'll kind of explain more about that a different day, but definitely something I think some of you could benefit from, especially the rings in general. If you don't have a set of rings, as I said about everything, I recommend getting it. It's an excellent tool for strength development and overall diversity in your shoulders, core work, everything. It's just overall a better, really great training tool that you can do a lot of things with. And if you don't want like a lot of equipment, it's great for that too. So right here I'm showing something called a Jefferson curl, and what it is pretty much strengthening the posterior chain of my back and hamstrings, or just my posterior chain is my back and hamstrings, glutes a little bit too, and it's to help if you happen to get into some weird positions. It's just strengthening that back area. Something I started to do more of after reading Parkour Strength Training by Ryan Ford and one of his other friends. Here I'm just doing some rotator cuff work, and this night I was supposed to be doing some aerial, but I decided instead to stay inside. There was a storm coming. I had to. I couldn't do any training on the aerial set outside. Right here I'm working on some pails and rails with my arm here, trying to push it into a deeper position. And if you're ever interested in that kind of stuff, I can put up a longer detailed thing on that. There's plenty of information of it on YouTube right now, so you really don't need me to do that. But sometimes people just want to see, what you're doing. So yeah, this is a little pails and rails session for my internal rotation, my shoulder. Right here I was trying to work overhead extension. This is an area I've struggled with for a very long time. I don't know how much I can actually gain from this position. It's quite painful to go any farther than this, and not like a stretching type of pain. It's a hurting pain. So I may just have reached the maximum of what I can do with that position, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Right here are some end range liftoffs, trying to strengthen the range that I did happen to acquire during that pails and rails session for the overhead position. So just have my hands on top of yoga blocks and lift them up like that to try and strengthen that end range. You can see it is quite difficult for me. Then just some nice cars, controlled articular rotations here, just to continuously strengthen and not mobilize, but you know, to continue to remind my body that I have this range to work with. Right here, doing some behind the back flexion, I think would be considered extension. I used to always get confused on what's overhead extension, flexion, anything like that, but just working that position more in the back there, trying to open up that area some more.
So I did almost forget to mention that my wife and I are still continuing our partner acro work. Again, one of the things that becomes one of the major challenges with doing acro balance is finding the moves that work well with you and your partner. Kristen and I are about the same height, and because of that, it does make some balancing things a little more difficult, but I think it also makes us a very unique acrobatic couple. So I'm actually looking forward to a lot of the challenges we encounter, because it just means that if we can overcome those things, it'll make us that much more of a unique performance couple for this kind of thing. You can see right here in this video that we're trying to do this, I don't know what to call this balance exactly, but she's doing like a body lever or like a dragon flag-ish thing, and I have to hold like this figure 4 45-degree angle like handstand. But it's working out pretty good. We've actually held it longer than in this video, but this is what we got from the last session. And then you can also see here that we're doing a balancing planche. I need to get my hips a little bit lower to make this look as flat as I want to, but I'm actually quite excited about how far we've gotten with this and how much stronger my wrists and shoulders have gotten with all the extra handstand work that I've done. So very happy about that. We're continuing also to try to do some hand-to-hand work. This one's probably going to be one of the more challenging ones, obviously, because I have to be able to push her overhead if we want to get to anything major from the ground like this. Otherwise we'll have to go up a different way. We're also doing work where I just lay on my back and I have my hands extended, and then she works on pike work and stuff like that. So I know I have the straight arm strength to do it, but it's definitely a lot harder going from bent arm to straight arm. Continuing on with that, because of that, I'm starting to do more overhead pressing work. I've got a pair of dumbbells, and I am trying to do as much overhead work as I possibly can to increase that amount of weight that I can handle. A lot of unilateral work with it though, because I find that that will actually help me out a lot more than trying to do both at the same time. So my goal is to be able to do at least 145. I have to at least be able to do 145. My goal is to get 150 and higher, and I know I can accomplish this goal, but I need to be stronger than what the weight's going to be required. So I'm not allowed to reveal my wife's weight, but I need to make sure to be stronger than what my partner's weight is, and so that's my goal with that. Also doing a little bit of aesthetic work, obviously, some bicep curls. Unfortunately, with most of the things that we do in acrobatics, you actually don't tax the bicep in an isolated form very often. There are a couple of things you can do, but as far as making it a safe way to grow the biceps, I'm going back to doing some curls. So I'm trying to do curls about 2 times a week and try to get some high volume with that as well. So we'll see if that helps me out with that area at all. But yeah, it's back to some weight training as well. Stretching wise, just some extra work that I did this week. I'm starting to work more on my point, and so for my feet, I've never really had great point. I've always had extremely strong ankles and stable ankles, but I've never really had a great point. In other words, my dorsal flexion is better than my plantar flexion, and my dorsal flexion is shit. So it's you know, can you imagine what my plantar flexion is like? That means dorsal means my feet flex, plantar means my feet pointed. So just, you know, a lot of work to do with that, but that also means a lot of room to grow in different ways of doing that. Also getting back to doing some bridge work. Been happy with that. Bridge is another one of my stretches that I can do okay, but it's never been my strong point. And even if I look back at pretty much all the way from age 20 on to now, it's always been a bit harder getting that extra bit of range overhead in that position. So hasn't gotten worse, which is good, but it's definitely been very hard to make it better. Over here I was having my wife help me with some stretching here. She was actually more interested in looking at all the glitter that was on my feet than she was actually interested in helping me stretch, but she eventually got all the glitter off and she actually helped me with this. That's all I got for you this time. Thank you for watching. If you happen to get through everything, thank you for following me on my journey. If you're interested at all in personal training, remember that I do that as well, in acrobatics, parkour, and dance, and many other things as well too. So yeah, give me a message or send me something. I could do stuff online, or I can also teach through YouTube or through videos, Google Hangout, things like that. So anything is possible these days, especially in long distances. So if you do happen to be interested in that stuff, please just let me know. For Jessica signing out, live, love, inspire, and thanks for watching.